there you have it, Mob Deep with the survival of the fittest, our tune for Friday mornings, where we are talking about, well, most often we talk about digital cash, and sometimes about Crunchfish, and sometimes about other stuff. But this is a digital cash morning, and it's Friday, 8 o'clock in Sweden, and we have a lovely panel. You see them all here. Let's start with Gagan. Hello, good morning.
Hi, Johan. How are you?
I'm fine, and you?
Good, great.
Yeah, tell us the latest from India, the latest news this morning. What's it all about?
So the latest news from this morning is that Joachim's just gone back, and we are having fun in India. Right?
Yes, that was last week's news. We had our from this point of view, you could think that it's always the same. But it's he's sitting there in front of Charles Darwin. But last week you were in India, Joachim, and now you're back, and it's the big news in India. We realize what happened. Welcome back, first of all.
Yeah, thank you. No, it was great to be with Gagan and Vijay and Ram for a week. So it's good. It's good to be back as well. But it was definitely a nice week in India.
Yeah, we will hear more about that trip, well, soon, I believe. But then, of course, we need to, see who the hell is the third guy. It's Magnus. Magnus Lagerson, CPO, Crunchfish Digital Cash. How are you?
Great, thank you. I'm tired, but in good mood.
Yeah, but you're looking so good. So just tell me, what happened with the company while Joachim was away? We're all celebrating and having a good time, or what?
It was a relaxed week.
But
no.
It was harder for Gagan.
Yeah. He then had to see how we have it the rest of the year.
Yeah. That's great. So, good to have you all here. And first of all, very good to have you with us. If you are watching this show, it's our 21st webinar, and it's soon we will have a summer break. Two more weeks, I believe, Joachim.
Yes, that's what we're planning for.
Yeah, great. So let's talk about today's subject: digital cash, non-mobile devices. This is actually has very much to do with your tell us the connection to your trip last week, Joachim.
Yeah, originally we were planning to do a digital cash use cases, but we thought it would be appropriate maybe to do one of the use cases rather, to focus in and do the one that we actually presented to the Indian sort of Reserve Bank of India, the Central Bank of India. So. Yeah. So I'll talk about that, which is sort of an extension to our digital cash platform that we have. We've done a proof of concept with it at least. I'll show that, and I'll talk a little bit about what happened really there, because that was just before I went home on sort of really the end of the week in Bengaluru.
Yeah. And Gagan, since you were very much involved with what happened last week, can you just tell us about the overall goals for Joachim's trip, and from your perspective, how you managed? Just give me some words about that.
Yeah, sure. So Joachim had come to India with 3 objectives. One was to launch the T-Hub partnership in India, where we are launching an accelerator for augmented payments. That happened in Delhi at the Swedish Embassy, and it went well. Post which we were meeting some, banking partners in Mumbai, and Bangalore was the grand finale where we were supposed to meet the Reserve Bank of India, right? And we presented to them, and this is the presentation that you're seeing just now is actually what we presented to the Reserve Bank of India as a part of the hackathon as a finalist.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's and I haven't heard all the stories, so I hope you will involve them within. You just told me the Vice Bear story. But that's not included, I believe. let's go with the presentation then, Joachim. And if you're listening and watching and you have any questions, please use the chat forum for that issue and write your questions, and I will pass them on when we come to the panelist session in a while. But first of all, Joachim and the presentation. Give it away, Joachim.
Thank you, Johan. Yes, digital cash non-mobile devices. Something we had already planned to do this sort of use case, end of last year, but it became very much in focus when we realized that the Reserve Bank of India was seeing this use case as one of the focus areas in the Reserve Bank of India very first global hackathon. They invited everybody to submit proposals in 4 categories, which one of them was non-mobile devices, the harbinger. This is the first time they did it. I think harbinger is the only word in the English language, or one of the few, that has the letters RBI sort of next to each other. And it means foreboding, that you're coming with sort of some news and something new for the future. And they were looking for innovative solutions that would help transform the Indian sort of global or the Indian sort of payment landscape. And we thought, so let's sort of throw our application in there. We haven't sort of done that before, and we were selected. There were 363 in total in these 4 categories. I don't know how many it was in the non-mobile devices, but I would assume probably at least a fourth of that. And we went to the finale, which was at that Thursday, Friday in Bangalore, where we were presenting there. Here we are in outside the judges' room. We were team number 12. Gagan here in the middle, as you can see, and Vijay, our director for Crunchfish India. And it was interesting, certainly, to present to such a prestigious team, because it's the Reserve Bank of India. I think it was really high profile. They have been pulling in juries from really top-notch people, professors, and also top executives from some agencies in India, that they were looking at all the teams and sort of judging it. We didn't win. We were hopeful, actually, but we didn't. I think if I spoiler alert here, then, that at the end, what happened was that the jury, where the Reserve Bank of India didn't participate in the jury, but the jury felt that our solution involved mobiles. And at the prize ceremony, they gave us a special mention that they thought we had a very, very interesting solution for offline payments. However, since it involved mobiles and this category was non-mobile devices, they felt that they had to, not award us for it. But this is what we pitched to the Reserve Bank of India to be part of this competition. Is that if you have digital cash on a mobile app, on a mobile, then you could top up and then also pay with non-mobile devices. So you can have an exchange between a mobile phone, where you have a secure space where you can have digital cash, and you can top up, say, anything where there is a chip. It could be a smart card, could be a key ring or a wristband, and there is an interaction then where you would do that top up. And then when you have some stored value on that chip, then you can use to pay with that against a mobile phone as well. And so we felt really that digital cash non-mobile is from the perspective of the payer, that the payer is able to top up something and pay. And we thought it's really a strength in our solution that you are able to interact against smartphones, because that is typically not the case, and certainly not the case in an offline mode. So we felt that that was a sort of a strong pitch. And what we were really happy with was that the Reserve Bank of India, not sitting in the jury, they certainly interacted with us afterwards and felt that they really liked the solution and thought it was important. And I think it is, because if you can have a stored value either on a mobile securely, or you can have a stored value on a card, that is an important sort of feature for a market to say deliver a CBDC, which is sort of coming, but also to extend the universe for mobile payments, also to offline payments, and having these payments with a chip, being able to interact with just any mobile. We felt there was a strong case, and they agreed. They liked us, and then they came up to us after the prize ceremony and said that we really felt thank you for participating. We thought you had a good case, and I think that was for us really nice, because I think one of the main things we wanted to do, this was the first time we really had a direct interaction with the Reserve Bank of India, and we were happy that they were encouraging and very positive towards what we had presented. So the solution is really that what we did is sort of to do things in what is called full offline, because there are solutions which are offline. Offline could be in various sense, that you could have a solution where one of the parties, typically a card payment, is that. So that's, a card is doesn't have, that's certainly offline. If you have a chip on a card, a smart card, but then typically the terminal you're paying against is sort of online. But there's also solutions coming to the market where there are various combinations of offline. But I think what's really quite unique with our solution is that we are making it totally offline. Both parties are allowed to be offline. And the reason why we want that is to have that secure 100% payment availability. In some sense, it's all about reliability. The payer would like to be certain that I can pay. I won't be reliant on that if I have online connectivity or not. Likewise, the merchant would like to be certain that if his customer says, I've paid, the merchant would like to sort of be assured, because if there is a back-end involvement here, that he has to get some sort of response from the back end, it could very much be that he's not getting it, and then he's standing there with a customer who says I've paid, and he doesn't know whether he should let go of the customer with his goods, because he's not really sure if he's sort of been paid. And then, as you know, the other offline thing is that maybe the back end could be offline. It could be the bank, their server is down, and then something is not working in the whole payment flow. So there is a lot of reasons why payments could actually fail. But if you can have a transaction completely in offline mode, where the interaction is simply between two people in proximity meeting each other, then you're taking away a lot of things that potentially could go wrong. And here you see these two people are doing an exchange with two mobiles. But what we then were demonstrating here in this case was that this exchange could also be where one has a card and the other one has sort of a mobile. This is also from the pitch we did originally to RBI, is to say that we will focus on this area here, with a mobile phone interacting with a chip on a smart card or as I said, a wearable. It could potentially also be linking to a feature phone, because you could there is technology called a SIM overlay, that over your SIM in your phone, that you sort of have a very thin film, which is you put something on top of that SIM, which is essentially like a chip. So then you could potentially have an interaction offline between a mobile and a feature phone. But I think it is we said let's focus in on the exchange here between the mobile phone and the chip in various form factors. That's what we will have in this sort of this presentation. And just to show you, we did at the RBI Harbinger, we had this recorded video to show, and then we also did a live demo as well. It was Gagan who did a live demo at the end, so they sort of saw this sort of twice. But let me sort of show you what this was here really. So you have a payer's phone here where you can top up the balance to the mobile here. You're topping up a mobile from the back end. So now you're bringing down some 1,000 rupee here to your mobile phone. So now you have 1,000 as some account balance there. You're putting both in flight mode. So we can demonstrate that we are completely now offline as well. There is a top up of the card now of 600 rupees. Now you take the card and you interact here. And then you can see that the mobile balance now 400 and there is 600 sitting on the card. And here's the other phone also on offline mode. This could be a merchant here, and they are asking request for a payment of 200. And that person come with a card. And then there is an interaction over NFC. There is 200 on the merchant here. And then as you will now see, then you can see that the balance of the card has gone down to 400. So 400, 400, 200. This is how these 1,000 were distributed. So we show that NFC interaction, topping up, and as well as then, also paying with it really. So what we really were showing here was on a way that we were talking about exchanges here to the left here. We have the whole stack here of things that at the top there is the account balance in the core banking system. And then we can have a back-end exchange with a mirrored account, also sitting potentially at the bank or at with the payment service, where you also in the back end could have an account. And what we can do when you're online with a mobile phone, we could top up that mobile phone, so you get a representation of a balance that you can use in offline mode on the smartphone. And then, as what was really in focus for this use case, is that we can do person-to-person exchange with a card or a wearable, and even do that in offline mode. And what we demonstrated as well is that how we took that balance on that card and we paid to another mobile in complete offline mode. And this is essentially as paying between a mobile and another mobile in offline mode, but we take it via the card. So it goes mobile to card to mobile instead of just going straight. And then you have that balance, which you can then top up your online account, and the settlement here is really to show that this could, for instance, be that you are in this step here, you are bringing down maybe some e-currency, some CBDC money, some central bank money into this structure here, and then you are committing it back here to the central bank money, really. But it's we were trying to demonstrate the entire sort of interaction here and put it in some context. What's unique about our case, and I guess maybe I stressed this too much in the presentation, and meaning that they sort of flanked us because we were talking about mobile too much. But really what makes Crunchfish very unique is that we have this secure environment on a mobile phone where we can keep a balance. This is what our original product was in the digital cash area. We're calling it digital cash offline, which runs on a smartphone. And for those of you who have been following our webinars, it is very much this trusted application that here is our application running within a secure environment on a mobile phone, because a mobile phone in itself are very unsecure. You can hack them, and it's very much an unsecure environment. But our partner Viki, with their VOS application, they have isolated the VOS isolation here. It is an isolation from the unsafe environment on the mobile app. So we can keep a balance, we can have a private key, we can sort of keep transactions here. And this is thanks to this isolation that we are getting here. And the way they've done this is very much modeled in the similar way as how a chip which is a piece of hardware, which also has a trusted execution environment on a smart card or a wearable. The same way as that is sort of secure, the same thing has happened on a mobile phone. And this is what sort of makes Crunchfish unique, that sort of secure environment. And then that we have built an entire application and logic around how this works. So we have something on a mobile phone interacting with, including then non-mobile devices. That's sort of what we are sitting with. And this just to show that this is not something new in some sense, this secure environment. We talked about all these levels of sophistication and certifications and global standards. VOS has been certified something called FIPS 140-2, which is a certification that anyone who writes, like we have done, a trusted application runs within this environment. It's also secure. That is what this certification sort of provides, and it is also certified for something internationally known as Common Criteria Evaluation Assurance Level 3+, which is a high level of security. And it's this sort of environment has been stress tested in very many tests around the world, and I think Viki really is sort of second to none in what they've done in this area. And that's what we use in order to have that secure environment for our application, Digital Cash Offline, that we have written. So we can have this stored value in a mobile app, bringing it down from the core banking. You can do an exchange to what we have here as a mirrored account, also in the back end here. And there are offline solutions that is sort of called offline. There is something in the Indian market called UPI Lite. It sort of talks about offline, but really what this is exactly this level, that what they've done is to provided a balance here, which is a balance that sits with the payment service of UPI instead of sitting with the core banking system. And so it is a balance that sits in the back end, that when you are paying, you don't need to put the core banking system in use. And that's important in the Indian market for that there is such a volume, and they try to isolate away the core banking from the payments. And that is sort of what UPI Lite is. But it has nothing to do with that the user is offline. It has all to do with that the core banking shouldn't be involved in the transaction. UPI, which is this phenomenal sort of payment system, instant payment system that I have, making sort of 5-6 billion transactions every month. They have plans to add this as well, to have offline as well. And I really hope that we could be in that dialogue for when they're going to add offline for the user perspective as well. But right now, that what they've built, and it's not really, there are trials with this, I should say. But it is a structure where you have a value which you can sort of use, so you don't have to go and ask the core banking system and switch via the core banking system. This is also similar to any wallet. There are wallets as well where you, I think people would know about PayPal, where you can take out money from your bank account and you can have a wallet instead. In India, there are several wallets. Many of the main players are having wallets. So you're topping up a wallet and then you're using that to pay. That is also a way to, okay, when you have the money on the wallet, you don't have to use the core banking system. So you're taking the core banking system out of the equation, because the account balance is sort of sitting here. What we do with that account-based system is that we can have a further exchange all the way down to the mobile phone. So that balance you can have here, a part of that you can take down to the smartphone app, and you can have it there instead. And that is this account balance that we refer to as digital cash offline. So we have a way to do exchanges here from the core banking to what we call a digital cash online, which is similar to a wallet or UPI Lite, and then you take it all the way down to a mobile. So we have an exchange here, account based. There are other ways to sort of have a value on a mobile phone, and it's what is called tokens. So what you could do is when you're online, you can sign out. It's almost like a digital banknote. You can sign that out to the mobile phone, and then you could use that. But that is sort of another strategy than what we are having here. We are having an exchange with balances, but here you are taking out an anonymous, really, banknote, which you can use, but you are getting the problem of double spending of doing it in this approach, and because you need to be online to make sure that this anonymous banknote, this digital token, hasn't been spent before. This is the problem of double spending. What we have here is a much secure environment for offline payments, because we are not just having an anonymous sort of token here. We're having a balance which stands in connection with the banking account, and we are signing out a transaction from here, which is like a check, dedicated, a banker's check, dedicated to a receiver, and it's all signed to just that person. So instead of being just an anonymous token, we're having something much more secure. So this is the approach we have taken in Crunchfish with digital cash offline. Back to the non-mobile devices here. Non-mobile devices, sort of, there is to have a stored value sitting on a non-mobile device. This is not new. That part is not new. What was new, as I said, is to have a stored value securely on a mobile. That is sort of new. But to have it on non-mobile devices, in India, they have something called the NCMC cards. This is the National Common Mobility Card. This is the, you can think of this as in Sweden, the SL-kort, that you have a stored value on your Stockholm's sort of public transport, or if you go to London, the Oyster card. This is that there is a stored value there that you can use to pay. You can also go and you can buy a gift card or prepaid card. These are stored values on a card. But what they all are about is that when you're going to top them up, when you're going to top up these cards and you're going to use them, it's sort of that, well, the top up is very much an exchange with a business establishment. So there is a business establishment to that card itself. It's always that from the back end, you are topping it up. You're topping up your card from that. This is how you're loading it. Whereas our solution, which we thought was really great in that it opens up a much more bigger universe, is that thanks to that we have this secure environment on the mobile phone, you can have a person-to-person exchange with that chip on a card or wearable. I'm using my dad a lot, sometimes my presentation, but my dad he's sort of over 80 years old. He thinks it's complicated here in Sweden to pay with instant payment using Swish here in Sweden, one of the dominating instant payment service. However, I could have topped up a card for him with some money, and then he could have sort of used that. So instead of holding cash, or instead of using then a mobile phone, we could have allowed him to pay with sort of a much simpler device for payment, which I could have topped up at his home, and I think that would be sort of a great feature to have that, because it opens up the universe for availability of payments on non-mobile devices for elderly people, it could be for children who doesn't have a smartphone, or anywhere really that you just need some cash. Maybe if you want to go out, and you don't want to bring your phone, you can just have a wristband here with some money on, and you can use that for quick sort of payments. So this was, I had this a month ago, all the use cases, and really what I've mainly been talking about is this one at the bottom here, pay offline with non-mobiles here. We have a patent pending. This is what this is. We have one innovation here, and it's not granted yet, but we have a patent pending for this idea. And here are the other use cases that I had actually the plan to talk about, but I decided let's just talk about this one down here instead, which it all ties back into our use cases for paying offline using a mobile, or even here that you have a balance here sitting in the back end that you can use and pay without core banking. We have this whole structure with digital cash, but the focus we had for RBI in this for this competition was just to add on this one. We are in early stage, so this was a proof of concept, but I think in only a month's time we were able to demonstrate an interaction to top up the card, and as you saw in the video, also pay with it. So that was it, Johan. I think I was speeding in order to not be, get complaints about too long presentations. So
no, never. I've never said anything about that. No, never. I think it was great. I think you're a very good presentator, Joachim. So it's crystal clear, I would say, and it's always inspiring. I'm just before I will pass questions to the others. I'm just thinking, well, about when you're topping up your dad and these normal day situations. I think the small clip where you showed the film there, it was very well. The first time for me to see that, and I realized, oh, this is very simple. But I was thinking about what's the need of a display. I mean, if you have your money on your card and you pay with it, and then your dad or me or anyone else, I want to be secure that has the withdrawal been done? I want to see my balance after the transaction when I bought a thing or whatever. Is that an issue if I want to check my balance and I don't have a smartphone?
Well, the chip itself on a card, if you think of a card, it doesn't have it. But in order to see that, you would interact with a phone which has onboarded that card, and then you can see the balance as you saw on the left here, really.
Yeah.
And then when you pay, you're not seeing the balance on the merchant's device, because you don't want to show the merchant how much money you have. So there you only are seeing that. A transaction here of, as this case was 200 rupees has been done. So that is what we're illustrating here, really. But somewhere needs to be a display in order to sort of see what's sort of going on here.
Yeah, and what I'm thinking of, if I'm a nervous type of person, I don't really rely on technology. Yes, it's 200 rupees. I want to see that it was 600 and now it's 400, and I just have my wearable. I'm just thinking of an actual situation. If I didn't really rely on the merchant, he seemed to be not the nicest man. I want to check my balance. So I have to find some kind of place where I can see the display. Then
there has to be. Yeah, you couldn't see that from the chip itself. It lies very securely inside that chip, that application. So you have to have something.
Talking about the chip, the chip, is it the same technology as we have today, or do the chips need to be another version to be able to perform what's needed here?
It's the same. We are running. This is a Java applet written in Java, sort of that runs on that chip, but it's the same sort of chip that you are used to, that you see on on sort of credit cards today. So it is that same chip.
Yeah, we use both standard cards, which we then implemented it on. So.
And do you and who decide the standards on the chip? Is that a world of changement, or is that no? That's the same all the time.
There are different standards, but what we used on this specific implementation is something which is commonly used everywhere. But it's some standards are being outphased and everywhere, so you don't see the same standards in all places, but it's the same kind of implementation either way, and so on. So now when we have done it in like one ship, we know it's doable to do in several if necessary. So yeah, but it's a bit of a wild forest of that as well, but not a big forest, but there is a few different kind of smart sets out there.
So we have a question here from one of our viewers. It's Jay Harikrishna, and he is writing, you mean using Bluetooth we can make payment right? And who will take that one?
Yeah, I can go for it. You and Joachim, you could add more, but that's what this has. What we showed now had nothing to do with Bluetooth, but we have done implementation, and that's some of the stuff you could see on our webpage actually, where we do interaction and proximity solution using the Bluetooth, so you make an interchange. So when you do a mobile transaction offline with a mobile phone, we can then use Bluetooth as a protocol to do exactly the same thing as we showed with the card. And we can use standards which are out there, and we actually have our own product called ProxyLink, which we have demonstrated and done several proof of concepts with now with the customers in several areas of the world. So yeah, you can definitely do the same user experience with Bluetooth. And if you look into the phones, Bluetooth has a great advantage, and that's that you can use the same implementation and use case for all phones independent of platforms, because both it works as similar and work on both Android and iOS, and also other platforms which has Bluetooth capabilities. So therefore Bluetooth is really good.
Gagan, I've learned during these weeks that India is the place to be and where it all happens. When you you hear the story once again about what this is all about, digital cash paying, non-mobile payments. What are you finding the most intriguing part, the most interesting, the uniqueness, listening to Joachim's presentation? Oh, no, you're muted. You're muted.
So India has already a lot of smartphones, but there are a lot of people who are carrying feature phones, and then there is a whole world out there who has neither, right? So we are looking at leveraging payments through non-mobile devices for that universe, right? Because we are talking about people sitting out there in the rest of India outside the cities, who probably want to do a transaction but are dependent on cash today. So I think the most exciting part about what Crunchfish is bringing to India is including them in the digital journey, right? So if there is a banking correspondent sitting out there who's today facilitating transactions, right, in that village or in that town, and there are people who don't have mobiles or feature phones, then this can be a fantastic technology through which these people can also participate in digital payments. Yeah,
and you mentioned, Joachim, other solutions with a stored value on a card, and you talked about tokens. I remember. Can you just once again explain the advantages with the Crunchfish solution?
The tokens were on a mobile, but I guess you could have them on the cards as well. But I think the stored value on a card. This is like you know, you can go to a merchant and you can buy a gift card that you can use at that establishment. And when you are getting that card, there is you know, either is already sort of loaded already, but otherwise you will pay some money and they will top up that card, and that is an exchange between that business establishment and your card. And the same thing, the big thing in India, they have something called NCMC cards. That is also linked to that you are prepaying for journeys, and you have a card with a value on, and you can use that on buses and in various areas. So you have already prepaid for that service. So it is essentially a prepaid service on to a certain business sort of establishment, sort of, you know, use them with them. What we are doing here with is generalizing the whole thing, that this is just money that you're having, and we're allowing the top up to happen even in an offline mode and against a mobile phone, which everybody sort of is carrying. So if you have a person who has digital cash offline on a mobile phone, they could top up and have that interchange with the with these chips. So what's current in the market today is that there are stored value on cards, but they are sort of linked to a certain business that you're using it there. We are having money in general here. You can top up against any mobile, and you can use sort of, you know, your friend. You can take money from a friend and then pay to a merchant who do not have a special terminal. He just have an app on a phone, and we can pay against that. So it just opens up the universe how we've done it here. Yeah,
I realize. And also when it comes to financial transactions, of course, trust is very important, both in technology and also in the players. And so just some words about trust. How do you build it towards the normal citizen, so you can rely on this technology, this idea, and you are building trust through partners, building a big team of players. Okay, we are very trustworthy. We have all these companies and people on board. You can rely on us. And how's that process being able to be accepted all through all the different levels until you are very well everyday payment solution? Any thoughts about that, Gagan?
Yeah. So PKI is the technology which we typically use to digitally sign transactions, both using the mobile and non-mobile devices, right? And that's, you know, having a certificate on the issuer side, which is the user side, which is then validated on the receiver side. So that's basically the unit of trust which is used between, you know, both the receiver and the payer, and which is basis which. So it's beyond actually the institutions. So if that same certificate is actually used by multiple institutions, it's actually creating a whole network of trust. And that's the reason why we believe offline payments, you know, can take off in a serious way using the technology that Crunchfish is providing.
But I mean, being trusted on the final level among people, how do you? Because we all know that if there's a new thing, you need to realize, is this a trustworthy system? How do you really get accepted there?
I think, Johan, the way, you know, we are talking about augmenting payments. So we are. It's not like anyone should start trusting Crunchfish and digital cash as a separate solution. We are an embedded feature allowing an existing payment service that they're already using, that they have trust in, to also be able to pay, say, for instance, here offline and to interact with the card. So the trust is, you already have a trust in the payment services that you're currently using. If you're in Sweden, this would be if Swish would to take this on, it would be that you would have a balance in the Swish app that you could see that is available to you for paying offline on the mobile. And then this would be if you have a card, it will be like digital cash on a card as well, which is linked in a way to the Swish service. So we are, I think the trust for the sort of end user would be in the current payment service that they're using. And we are a technology provider to that service. And so we are inheriting in a way that trusted. So you would rely on as a person that the payment service I'm using, they have done their due diligence on why this is sort of secure and why they're taking care of our money. It's not like they would have to trust Crunchfish directly, because we are a B2B to C. You know, we business to business, which is the payment service or a bank or a central bank, and they are providing things to the customer. It's not us.
Yeah, I realize, and that really, well, that's the answer of the question. I realize that this is within the system. So when it comes to meeting, you had the meeting with the RBI last week. What's the role of the central bank when it comes to the payment markets in a country? Because it's very important for the trust building in the B2B area. So just what's the role of a central bank? Let's go to Magnus.
Oh, that's one tricky one.
Yeah, let's leave it. Okay, you asked me just the easy questions for me today. You know, I'm very sleepy, and so let's. you will get some minutes to think about it. Joachim, you seem to be ready. The role of a central bank.
Well, I think the overall role of the central bank in a country is to provide stability to the payments market. They regulate every player. Payments is a regulated activity, and they set the rules. What is allowed in this country, and play that from a sort of a central position. They also typically switch. You know, if a bank, your money from your bank, Johan, pays to my bank, then that is also in some say netted out via payments via the central bank as well. So they're involved in some sort of back end switching, and they are sort of setting rules. I think the Indian central bank, the Reserve Bank of India, they also are very willing to play an active role in fostering innovation. Because they like, you know, to see innovation in the market, because that helps in the market. So they like organizing this hackathon. I think it's an excellent example where a central bank is taking a role of we need more innovation. We like that because we would like more because that is best for the common good. The central bank takes that position. Payments is a common good that everybody should use, and they want it as effective, stable, and they play that role to ensure that in various ways. But I think that's the role they're playing.
So what kind of interactions does Crunchfish have with RBI, Gagan?
So if you were to look at the hackathon was the first interaction. I think it gave us a very good platform to display the kind of innovation, patented solutions that Crunchfish can bring to India. Beyond which, we are also working with the RBI on, aiming to kind of deliver our solutions on their sandbox, right? In partnership with a few financial institutions. I think that's the aim, which will help us kind of get more support for our platform in the country. I think once the RBI is able to view, review, and kind of validate our solution in a sandbox environment, I think there will be far more supportive of the solution, and they will be able to kind of create the pathway or open that pathway for more banks and platforms to come on board.
Yeah. Anything you want to add, Joachim?
No, I think that's. I think it was excellent. The fact, yes, like Gagan said, first interaction, and I really enjoy, or I was encouraged by that. They liked the solution, and And I think we were, even if we were pitching non-mobile devices, we had to talk about digital cash on smartphones as well. And that is the focus what we are doing with the regulatory sandbox. This is we're working with sort of major banks, and we are involving then at the back end the Reserve Bank of India, because the beauty with the Reserve Bank is that they have the power, if they think this is a solution for the entire Indian market, to sort of help in facilitating and rollout in the entire market. That's hard to do for one single bank, but the Reserve Bank, having that central role, has that power in a country.
I think we should understand that RBI has an incredible position, or are much, as you stated earlier, Joachim, they are very active, and the central banks all over the world have all different roles and responsibilities, or not role, they take different roles. I think the Swedish central bank is going in the direction like RBI, but still quite passive. And you see that all over Europe, they start to rely on what's happening on the like European level, like the ECB and so on. And I think that the path which RBI have shown is going to be very, I mean, people look on to them from all over the world because they actually do things actively and also set the scene for the market. Just lying back and assume that things will happen is not the way to.
No. I'm thinking about the competition. You said how many participants? Was it 300?
Well, I wouldn't say call it. Well, there was not competition, but there were 363 entries into this global hackathon, and it was in 4 categories, all independent. And we were, say there were maybe I don't know, say it was 90 to 100 entries for this category, non-mobile devices.
So you were in non-mobile devices category. That was your. Yes.
We were not in the other ones. We were in that one, which was an independent.
So if you just talk about that area, because that was your that's your focus. So if you compare to the others there, how could you say? Well, you look at the other inventions, the other companies.
We were not allowed to. We were not allowed in and to listen to the other contenders. We did talk because we were in the first day on the Thursday presenting, so we met some others, and it was actually the one who the company who won the category was our partner ToneTag. And they do sound-based interaction, and they had a pitch on that you can talk to like an Amazon Alexa, and you pay, you know, you're not using a mobile phone, you are actually speaking to Alexa, and they were showing voice control with that. That was what the jury fell for, so that was the winner. So that it has very little to do what we really do, but this is so I think the jury liked that because they're not using mobiles at all. They are. So
you can go to Alexa and say, "Show me the money. Show me the money."
Or you can say, "Pay that or this that sort of." But show me the money. I don't know what Alexa would say. I'm not sure if I can do that, Johan. Sorry.
No, sorry, but okay, I will just pay them. Thank you, Johan. Next, she would say. Okay, great. So there was a competition. If you take your category, ToneTag, they won, and the different solutions in many ways. But these are fully enabled to work together. Their solution and your solution, and have your collaboration.
The payments world is very big, and this is not about that. Our solution, we had our focus. We thought it was a great thing that you could interact offline with mobile phone, having your stored value on a chip. Basically, that's what we had. That has very little to do with the. That you pay with Alexa. That is a completely other use case. You pay in that sort of sense as well, and it's so it's not like everything should work together. In some sense, I guess they do work together because it all means that you're all making payments against the back end in some way. But we had our niche that at least our mentor that I think was a great ex-RBI executive, sort of thought was a good solution, and he was in a way the one that nominated us that Crunchfish should definitely be part of the final, and we were, but it's not like everything is sort of looking at working exactly together. I think we go down our silo and we do our thing, which is different from what here Tone Tag is doing in their case.
And from what I've learned and what you just recently said, India is the market that everyone's looking at, and being a finalist and when competing also with other solutions that are totally in different, well, going in different directions. I think it's a great effort being in that position. So just give the last 3 minutes about the future and what will be needed for this this mobile digital payment solution. What will be the next step making this possible, making this in real life? Gagan, you go for it. What are you seeing in the near future?
So if you look at the NASSCOM report, I think which we referred to, even while Joachim was in India, India is expecting almost 1.5 billion digital payments a day, right, by 2025, right? So if that's the future, that's what we are aiming for. And the payments have already kind of, the numbers have doubled since last year. So we are kind of moving in that direction. I think one clear outcome which I and a lot of people are seeing is contactless and offline payments are definitely going to play a big role in mass adoption of these payments, right? Because there's a large part of India which does not have, connectivity, or there could be other issues, right? Server issues or whatever. There are multiple moving parts. So I think that's the way where a technology like ours could really play a big role.
Yeah, Magnus, what I know you are. Well, we've been talking through these webinars about we're getting closer and closer to the next step, the next level where it will happen. So, are you closer today, and what can you see in the nearest future?
Yeah, I mean, we do continuously improvements of the product, and getting close to the different customers gives us a great input to the last requirements to really make the product super good to reach the things that Gagan mentioned, because what we see is that the inclusion part is really, really of importance. Because that's where we will see a lot of volumes when it comes to a product like the digital cash offline part. I mean, if we get a fraction of all of the possibilities of the transactions, I mean, then it's incredible. I mean, the figures that Gagan mentioned, that's like what if we get 1% to 10% of that volume, it's more than like what Swish process in like 5 years. So yeah. it's incredible, and the things we can do also in order to help the banks, which we now see that they start to realize is really of great importance, because I used to be working within banks as well and know how hard it is to do changes and do the improvements. And with a component like what we can offer can really take the pressure out of the banking systems. And that's with the digital cash online as well as the digital cash offline. Yeah. So I think we have a super good portfolio to be present in all spaces.
Joachim, you got I think it was, maybe was it you, Gagan, who gave you the name, the offline man? Yeah, we had the off. I really love it. We had the offline man. Well, we sent him to India. He was there for 6 days. Now he's back. What have you learned, and have you changed your vision about the near future? Will it come even earlier, or will it take some more time? What's your perspective? What have you learned, and what are your thoughts about the near future, Joachim? Final words.
I think offline is an important piece for I have to say that obviously, but with that name, the offline man. But I really think that it is here to come, and I think the way to go about it is to demonstrate it. On your question before, we are in discussion with sort of major banks, and now also then, as we are putting this on the regulatory sandbox of RBI, that means that they would supervise it and they will be part of it. And I think the central bank perspective on payments is that on stability, and that needs to work regardless, really. So I think they I think want to see if you could provide secure payments that works also offline. That is an extremely sort of important piece to have. We actually had, I thought that was really good at the launch, Skagan commented earlier, when we launched the Augmenting Payments Accelerator. We had Beshu Shah, who is the head of the Nordic Innovation Hub for BIS, the Bank of International Central. That this is the bank of the central banks. He was talking and gave his personal reflection on that. A user shouldn't have to care, you know. If you're offline, it should work anyway. It needs to work regardless, offline or online. And I think he gave an excellent backdrop to the whole thing of how important it is. And that's, I think, the way that central banks need to think, that offline need to augment online payments. We have online today. We do that great, but offline needs to come in as a way to complement, to take care of all these when it's not the happy flow, when not everything is working, because I think, and that's the central bank perspective that they need to take. I think a payment service could develop something. We have something that works, you know, 99% of the time, and then we're happy with that. We don't, you know, that's it. But I think a central bank needs to take a bit of a other perspective on what happens when the shit hits the fan, really, when really things going down, or it could be you, Johan, that temporarily are not being able to pay because you don't have connectivity. But it can also be a whole bank that really creates havoc in a whole country, because now the bank is out of, you know, you can't use that bank. So it's a lot of these things that needs to be taken care of. And I think the offline piece, augmenting online, is really, I think, what needs to happen. And I think we're sitting in a strong position there.
Yeah, great. And since I learned through these weeks that Friday 9 o'clock you talk about importance, and then 9 o'clock Friday morning, the most important is breakfast, I believe.
Always breakfast,
because it seems very important within Crunchfish. So we won't get away in the way for breakfast. So talk just a small some words about the upcoming webinars.
We're wrapping up for this first half year with this series, and there is another one then on gesture interaction. We have just like we covered a month ago, digital cash, the patent portfolio. We're going to do a similar sort of display and discussing on where we are with the patents on the gesture side. That will be the focus of next week. And then we still haven't, I'm still hopeful we will get an external presenter on the June 17th, and that's why we haven't announced that. So I'll still keep that open. That's why it's going to be digital cash, but not sure yet about exactly the topic of it.
Yeah, and since, well, you can all see that we are heading for the webinar number 22 and 23 here, and then there will be a summer break. And we talk about how will be the best way to take this further, and there's interesting discussion about how we can use these webinars for connecting with new people, getting the story and the information out there. So if you have any ideas about any reflections, any feedback about these webinars, please write to us, because we are planning and talking about what will be the right way of taking this further. So with those words, thank you so much for participating. Lovely panel, Joachim, as always. Gagan, as well, quite often nowadays. It's good to see you.
Yep.
And Magnus, are you still sleepy?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you made it, and you were nice all the time. and it was easy to understand what you were saying. So I think you are very well done, Magnus. Okay, so thank you all, the three of you, and thank you for watching.